I'm in the present, no judgment, I'm here now. I'm in the present, no judgment.
Welcome back to Here and the Now podcast with your host, J.G. LaRochette from the Mindful Life Project. I hope this episode finds you well in mind, body, and heart. We are going to dig in today into got stress in the holidays? Yes, that's our episode today. It's a time of year right here in November, December, where we are being told we're supposed to be really happy and joyful. We're being told that it's supposed to be exciting and fun. At the same time, we're feeling maybe some joys, maybe some sorrows. And as we say in mindfulness, right, and life, more importantly, it's the path of 10,000 joys and 10,000 sorrows and everything in between. As educators out there, not only are you holding your own experience in what's happening, but also your young people's, right? And as we know, that can vary. Some young folks can be really, really excited this time of year. They might have all the support, love. They might have all the excitement of the holidays at home, or the family might be really struggling this time of year. It's really a duality, right? And that's what this episode's about. And again, you're at Here and the Now podcast. This is the Educator Wellness Podcast with your host, JG. We at Mindful Life Project just want to serve. We want to support the mental and emotional well-being of young people across as many places we can, as well as their educators. And so this is specifically for you, a place where you can hear some content that really might resonate with your experience, learn some strategies and skills, some mindful skills on how to navigate this full human experience with wisdom, compassion, and care, and be importantly in the present moment. So just check in with yourself for a second, as we usually do, right? Do a little check-in. Same thing we do with our students. Check in your heart space right now. Are there a lot of emotions coming up and flowing through our experience? The heart feeling open and strong and powerful? Is it feeling tired and weary and a little bit hardened maybe? Right? Just check in without judgment. What's the landscape of that heart the last couple weeks, few weeks, months sometimes? And then check in with the mind, right? Is the to-do lists, are all the different tabs like on our computers open in our mind? Or is there some clarity, some space? Just check in. And this time of year, my guess is that to-do list is longer than ever. And we'll talk about that shortly. And lastly, check into your body, right? Again, all through compassion, through a lens of kindness and love. Is the body awake and energized? Is it sleepy and feeling weak? Or anything there between? And notice if there's any judgments, right? The judgment of how we feel can cause us suffering. Feeling won't cause us suffering. It's really how we either welcome the experience, mind, body, and heart, or how we push it away. And that's really what we're talking about here at Mindful Life. This podcast is about learning skills and strategies to be here with compassion, with kindness, with openness, with courage. And when we're not in that way, bring extra compassion, extra support, self-love, self-care, because we deserve it. Every human does. So now let's move into the holiday season. Got stress? Personally, I think that it's one of those times of year that I come in with a little trepidation, right? It's especially in our society here, really about material things and sales and doing the best, getting the best presents for folks, or doing the most special things that other people aren't doing, showing it on social media, right? So it's a time of year also where many of us, right? Many of us have pain, memories that were challenging, experiences, right? My uncle passed away on Christmas morning, and I always kind of have this condition of, oh, it's that time of year again, right? And so just check in. What is that for you? Are you more on the, oh, it's the holidays, I'm joyful, I'm excited, I'm happy, I can't wait? Or is it the time where you're very resistant? You're very, very wishing it weren't this time? Or are you in between? So what we really are trying to bring along is this ability to be somewhat in equanimity, right? And I say that word with a little hesitation because equanimity thing is thought to be like really in a steadfast line, not too excited, not too low, right? But more importantly, the way I'm trying to describe it is more around being fully present and be able to experience things without either the big high levels of either the rise of so much suffering or so much joy that we get caught in it. Okay. So that's kind of the space by which mindfulness helps us, of course, feel joy fully, feel sadness fully, feel excitement to the biggest extreme, but also not be carried away so that it changes our long term, let's say a week, 2 weeks, a month, 2 months, 6 months, our long term mental and emotional health, right? So wherever you are on the spectrum in the holiday season, right? If you're fully wishing it weren't coming or here, or if you're really, really wanting it to be here and you want to stay this way for the rest of the year, right? It's a great opportunity for this to be the teacher, right? What do we know about life? We know it's impermanent. We know nothing will ever stay exactly the same. Impermanence is hard, but it's also the beauty of life, right? So again, we're playing with that duality. Impermanence is hard, change is hard, but it's also the beauty of life that nothing will ever stay the exact same. Every present moment is different. Every moment will never be like any other moment in our life. Similar, sure, right? But if you look at the details, there are no two waves that are the same in the ocean, and there are no two moments that are exactly the same in life. So how do we start navigating the side of wishing the holidays were here all year long or wishing the holidays never came or anywhere in between that? There's a saying of things come to us as a teacher or as a blessing, right? And so I take this perspective pretty much about everything, but I think it's really, really relevant in the holidays because maybe we don't want to confront some of that past struggle and suffering that happened in the holidays, or the pain and the emotions that come with that. Or maybe the holidays bring a different experience to us that we wish was the rest of the 11 months of the year, right? So, how do we start to also see that as a teacher and blessing on either side of that? Because at the end of the day, what we can do with our experience of being in the present moment is start to see where our edges are. And instead of kind of being stuck at that edge and not being able to move through it and get stuck in those cycles of emotions and thoughts and emotions, the physical sensations that go with that, the lived sense that might be felt there, is that really we just want to find this moment to be seen through a compassionate lens of awareness, right? So that's the beauty. If I feel sadness when I think of my uncle passing away on Christmas morning, I can pause with that. And just with compassion is such an interesting thing for me, everybody on the other side of this, hearing me. I used to think of my uncle passing away and sadness would overwhelm me. And especially as I got closer to the anniversary of his death. But what happens now as I use my mindfulness practice, my compassion practice, I can bring up that memory. And what comes is actually the memories of that moment, but also the memories of what happened before, how wonderful he was, how when I was around him, it was definitely a special opportunity. He lived a continent away. And then I can come back to the here and now and say, whatever's arising in that, I can use breath, sound, body awareness, heartfulness, gratitude, emotions. But again, the edges of, oh, I want to be back with him and not being able to, right? But also, I was with him, right? You hear me? And I still have him in me, right? That his experience, that experience of that connection to him or my grandmother or all the loved ones I've lost, it's not defined by that one moment that was their passing away. It's defined by everything in between, but most importantly, which lens I'm seeing my experiences in. So that's an extreme case, right? So then we think about like getting into together with holiday, how a holiday party with your family, right? And you're getting together and there's all the emotions that might go with that. So how do we navigate that? And then thinking about our students and our schools and all the things we're trying to do for the holiday season. And sometimes it's to really bring as much joy to our young people as possible because maybe they're not feeling it, or maybe it's trying to bring it down because our young people are getting a lot of things and they're feeling the holidays and they're getting all maybe too much, right? So how are we using these moments where emotions are strong to be the teacher that turns into the blessing, right? So while the teacher was my uncle passing away and how I use my compassion mindfulness lens to see this experience of human beingness fully in the sides of all angles of it so that it can be there and then smoothly shift into whatever else comes in the next moment. The same thing we can use when we're seeing our experiences feeling resistance or openness or wishing it were the same. So that's really my calling, my offering to us in this group and to all those listening out there. Life is going to be full of those blessings, those things that we just know, oh, we're just so grateful for. We feel so lucky about. We wish it was always this way. We wish it would never change, right? And then the teachable moments. And at least for me, the teachable moments prior to my mindfulness practice, I usually didn't try to learn. I tried to avoid. And so the teachable moments became way bigger and sometimes more overwhelming to handle because I wasn't trying to learn the lesson and I wasn't equipped. Mindfulness gave me the opportunity to have the equipped tools and skills to navigate those all angles I'm talking about and then come back where you got it to the present moment. So if we look at whatever we're feeling for the holidays, because maybe we're a month into it, or maybe we're in a few weeks into it, or maybe it already is, it's still 6 weeks away, whatever it might be. It's the future, right? Concerns, the do's, the worries, right? And then the past, right? Those two are coming in again and again. So how do we come back here in the now, and again with compassion and care? So as we practice today, I'm going to practice all 7 skills, the skills of awareness, right? All 7 mindful skills. So we can start to really integrate that each skill can help us in different ways. And we're going to continue doing this in our podcast. I think that most sessions, we're going to focus on this skills awareness moving forward because all 7 are deeply important to practice consistently. If I just focus on breath awareness every day, but then when stress happens and my body tenses up, I can't breathe, well, what good is that going to do me? If I use sound awareness, but then when I'm really overwhelmed, there's no sounds around that I can really engage in, right? I'm going to need a different skill. So go ahead, find yourself in a comfortable position, and we're going to do our mindful practice. So again, the 7 skills are breath, sound, body awareness, heartfulness, mindful emotions, mindful thinking, and gratitude. Those 7 we'll practice in about 7 minutes. Again, 7-8 minutes a day. Tremendous benefit. Again, if you only practice once or twice a week, it's better than nothing. But just like physical exercise, the more you practice, the more you exercise, the better it becomes for our mind, our body, and our heart. So you'd like to kind of find that position and you repeat after me. I've got my feet on the floor. I've got my spine in a line. Got my hands in my lap and my heart to the sky. And again, just allowing those eyes to close, or soft gaze below is always offered. We close the eyes again so we can really go inward without too many distractions from the external world. But if that doesn't feel comfortable, a soft gaze below is always available. So just start before I ring the bell. Just start by taking a deep, deep, deep inhale, breathing in. And then hold for a second, notice the full inhale, and then breathe out. Let's do one more intentional breath, breathing in and breathing out. And letting the breath find its normal flow, whatever that might be right now. Let the breath be. And we use mindful listening to engage in the here and now, using the sound of the bell to engage awareness. And as we allow ourselves to arrive fully as often as possible without judgment if we just get distracted, just bring attention to the contact points, your feet, weight, gravity, touch, your sit bones. Maybe your hamstrings are touching the chair or the cushion. Maybe you're leaning back. You can feel something on your back, some touch there. And simply wherever your hands are, just notice your hands, whatever they're touching. And we'll bring in the 7 skills, starting for about a minute on mindful breathing, just allowing the breath to be an awareness as it is. We're just watching our 7 skills experience. And whenever we get distracted, we're celebrating that we're mindful again. Just coming back home. So noticing the inhale and the exhale. Maybe feel the breath stronger in your belly, the rise and the fall. Or simply at your chest, the expansion and contraction. Or even at your nostrils, the cooler air on the inhale, the warmer air on the exhale. Just for about 20 seconds, just try to see if you can stay with the cycles of breath from the beginning, the pause, and the full exhale. And if the mind wanders into thoughts, especially as we practice during what might be a little busier than usual season, the wandering of the mind is normal. It's just patterns of what happens. And instead of judging or beating ourselves up, we just notice and we just gently, with compassion, come back. Now, gently letting breath go in the background. It will always be there if you need it. You can always come back to it. It can be home base. But now we're going to shift to sounds. So just using one sound at a time to help us arrive in the here and now again. So just checking in, where are those sounds coming from? Are they left, right, front, back? Are there thoughts that connect to the sounds? Or is there judgment if we don't hear anything? Just allowing sounds to rain down on you one at a time. You can scale awareness further away. You can scale awareness closer, noticing the sounds that arise, fade away, and the next sound that grabs your attention. And maybe just noticing patterns of distraction, right? It's an exciting moment when we notice we're distracted because it's that mental push up. It's the ability to, oh, I got lost. Now I can come back home. Now letting sounds like the breath be in the background, they'll still be there and you can always go to them if you need to. We're going to move to body awareness. Right? Tuning in, the body is always going to give us some temperature check, some wisdom. What are we doing with our experience? Right? So with those stronger emotions or thoughts that we used to think were negative thoughts, right? Do we contract? Do we tighten? Do we resist? Do we harden? Or is there more openness, looseness, relaxation? And on either end of that spectrum, can we welcome it through the lens of compassion? It is as it is, without trying to change it or needing to change it. So just quickly, just scan through the body from the top of the crown to the feet on the ground, noticing from your forehead, down your cheeks to your jaw. Any sensations give us an opportunity to come into the present and then tune on to how we are either allowing life to live through us or we're resisting and pushing life away. Down the shoulders, going through the core of the body, chest, stomach, all the way through the ribs and the side of the body, down as we meet our hips. And then scanning in about 30 seconds till we meet our feet. Just scanning down the sit bones, the hamstrings, all the way through the legs. Emotions, thoughts, sounds. The second we get distracted is a second that we can come back. Just meeting your feet now. Any sensations there? And now moving from the body to some heartfulness, right? Sitting with what is in deep compassion and love. Right? So the spectrum that we were mentioning earlier on the wishing it were always the holidays or like this, or wishing so dearly to push it all away and not have it at all. Wherever we meet ourselves, the practice is to meet ourselves with compassion and love, with a full welcoming that whatever it isn't who we are. It's that impermanence of life coming through and moving through. So holding compassion in the heart, in the body, and in the mind. And that will connect us to mindful emotions. So checking in on that heartscape, naming whatever emotion is currently there as it flows through, what other emotion comes next. And again, all emotions are welcome. They're just messages, not good, not bad, not right, not wrong. And then shifting as you notice whatever emotions are arising to holding that heartful lens of awareness with it. If there's resistance, bring compassion to that. If there's wishing it were different, bring compassion to that. And if the compassion ain't coming, bring compassion There. That's the practice, right? There's no judgment. There's no need to wish we were feeling differently or wish we were handling it differently. Letting judgment go. Just for several moments, now bring awareness to the mental landscape, that mental activity. Thoughts, just noticing when a thought arises. Is it a future thought, a past thought, a present thought? Just several moments, letting thoughts arise, notice them, and let the next ones come. Always the awareness can see, oh, the mind is tilted more to the future, more tilted to the past, more tilted to the present. And that already changes everything. Awareness allows us to come back to the most important place we can be alive, which is here and now. We'll finish with gratitude as we close practice today. So give yourself deep gratitude for the courage to be in practice. Give yourself deep gratitude for the ability to cultivate this practice, especially as we're so traditionally conditioned to go, 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 fix, solve, avoid, resist, get away. Here we are doing the exact opposite. We're just cultivating here-ness through a compassionate lens. Whatever you're grateful for, the teachers, the blessings, everything in between, just fill it up in your mind, body, and heart, and feel it in the body. And we'll close with the sound of the bell. And always coming out of practice as you need to. It's your practice, your time. You can sit longer. You can slowly move out. You can find where you want to react. Stretch it out. Open your eyes. Let light fill your whole spectrum. Let your senses come fully back. All right, amazing human beings. This was about navigating, right? The teacher and the blessings. It's easy. The blessings come, and we sometimes forget to bring gratitude to them and be with them. And the teachers, right? The things that are the people, the experiences, the things, the emotions, the thoughts, those teachers in our life. Cultivating this deep, compassionate wisdom to be through that lens of, it's not me, it's just an experience. And noticing those edges, right? So if the holidays bring a lot of joy, a lot of love, excitement, you don't want to ever change that. You want to keep that the rest of your year, or the opposite we talked about earlier. They're both edges, right? Meaning one way is better than the other. And at the end of the day, we define our present moment, right? We're able to use a compassionate lens of awareness through this practice. We can then change kind of how we engage with life, not just kind of, but fully. How do we engage in each moment? Wishing you very well. Continue to practice and cultivate, and always reach out. Again, this is J.G. LaRochette, your host at Here in the Now podcast at Mindful Life Project. Please do reach out. Thank you for the messages. Emails at jg@mindfullifeproject.org. You can find us on social media, just anywhere, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. Find us wherever you want to. Mindful Life Project, everybody. You can find us on every major streaming place for your podcast. You can also find us on Mindful Life Project TV on YouTube. Share this, grow this. Let's continue to build community. Be well, be well, be well. Life Project.
I'm in the present, no judgment, I'm here now. I'm in the present, no judgment, I'm here now. I'm in the present, no judgment.